Hello and welcome to our Ford electric vehicle creative brief presentation. My name is Chris Woodruff and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch our presentation. Going forward, you're going to see what we mean with our creative brief and how Ford can take our advice to hopefully increase their sales. Me again. So this is our table of content for our presentation. Going forward, we're first going to talk about our objective with Ford, followed by the target audience we will be marketing toward, current brand perceptions of Ford and their electric vehicles, the most compelling message and campaign that Ford has going for it. Then we're going to go with the desired response for our campaign, followed by the tone. We're going to have some support for our campaign. We're going to talk about our creative considerations for our campaign. And lastly, we're going to show you the creative brief with the citations.
Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin, and the first section of our creative brief is the objective. So what we suggest for Ford is to start a social good program where they have Ford owners trade in their old Ford models to go towards a purchase of a new Ford electric car that is a part of their new line. And then depending on how old the Ford model you trade in, if it's 5 years or older, there is the potential for customers to get an additional 10% towards the purchase of the electric car. And this makes it for a good ease for Ford customers to transition from gas-powered vehicle to electric, which is gaining a lot of popularity in the car industry in general and to help towards sustainability.
Alrighty, so in terms of target audience, Ford has a pretty niche group, but nonetheless, this is going to be something that is going to be marketed to everyone. They're obviously not going to be turning down any buyers from any demographic, but I think when it comes to their marketing and advertising for this electric vehicle campaign, there's more so staring at millennials and older. This is because they're to be the ones that are going to be looking to trade in their cars, looking to get a new car. Also, they will be the more environmentally conscious, and it's different than a younger, a high school kid's not likely going to purchase a new electric vehicle as much as they would be. For instance, what happens, I know in personal experience, typically you kind of get like a hand-me-down car, and those cars come from times where electric vehicles weren't as prominent in the market. So that's just something to look at. And as mentioned before, those looking to trade in for a newer car, Ford has a huge line, and they're offering electric vehicle versions of their already made cars. So I think that's something they can also capitalize on. And finally, there's just environmentally conscious car buyers. Concerns about the environment, things such as global warming and lowering your carbon footprint have been quite on the rise, and it's something that people look at way more than they ever did. So I think it's definitely understandable why they're going towards that audience, trying to show that Ford can help them lower their carbon footprint and be better for the environment, especially from a company that's known to make some big rigs and some, guzzlers such as the Mustang line and their bigger trucks like the Raptor. So I think that's something their target audience is going to be a little bit older, mature, and environmentally conscious.
According to Kelley Blue Book, more Americans consider purchasing a Ford than any other brand of motor vehicle. This is the first time in more than 40 years that any other brand other than Toyota has won this title. The Ford F-150 pickup truck was once again the best-selling vehicle in America, while the Ford Explorer was among the top 20 sellers. Ford also benefited from the introduction of their new Maverick compact pickup, which is also available in hybrid as opposed to plain old gas. They also have a line of electric vehicles selling well. So it's safe to say Ford has a very good brand perception currently, but it is not very popular when it comes to electric vehicles, with Tesla being far and away the most recognizable electric vehicle manufacturer on the market, with Nissan following second place. We believe that with our creative brief that we can make Ford the number one brand you think of when it comes to electric vehicles.
So for the most compelling message would be go further. It is Ford's most recognizable message, and we will use that in our campaign. And we will also use phrases like go further in your new EV, go further with your dollar, and go further using electricity instead of gas. Ford wants to leverage its recognizable branding to provide new and old Ford consumers with an environmentally conscious electric vehicle that is affordable, stylish, and an upgrade to their current vehicle. We really want to strengthen the phrase "go further" to make sure consumers or customers or anyone else that sees the phrase "go further," they'll be reminded of Ford.
So, for the desired response of our target audience, we want them to think that Ford is an environmentally conscious car company that cares about the future of our planet, that Ford is an innovator of change when it comes to switching to electric vehicles, that Ford is affordable for the average American, that Ford is a trusted car company with reliable old and new vehicles, and that Ford is stylish with visually appealing vehicle models. So the specific tone that Ford is trying to portray is that it's an informative, dependable, and casual brand that values innovation and freedom with its powerful engine design and aesthetic look.
For support, according to the Pew Research Center, 2/3 of Americans support providing incentive to increase the use of electric and hybrid vehicles. And the majority, like 55% majority of adults ages 18 to 29, say they are very somewhat likely to consider an electric vehicle the next time they buy a vehicle.
So, in terms of creative considerations, Ford has a lot to be looking at. So, starting off, I think it's a pretty obvious one in terms of electric vehicles. But Ford's going to be considering who's going to be looking to lower their carbon footprint. As mentioned in the target audience, these would be people that are a little bit more older, have more mature mindsets, and that are a little bit more concerned with the environment, especially at the time we are in. Another thing to look at would be what other companies are providing. So there's a lot of electric vehicles being manufactured at this point in time. A lot of big names are doing it. A lot of really nice cars such as BMW, Mercedes, and similar brands such as Chevrolet, GMC, etc. All kind of provide their own form of electric vehicle now. So it's kind of how can they compete with those and what's going to put them to stand out. And similar to target audience as well, which demographic is likely looking for a new vehicle. As mentioned before, this is going to be people who are not are looking to be first-time car owners, looking to trade in, and as said before, those who are looking to be more environmentally conscious. And lastly, it kind of goes without saying, but what makes it worth going forward with an electric vehicle? As mentioned, there's so many different cars out there and different manufacturers that offer this option. So Ford is going to have these consider with their creativity, with their advertising, and with their products, what's going to make it for customers to come into their shops and to purchase an electric Ford vehicle.